What's going on, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to yet another episode of The Drop, and this week is nothing as compared to what we've had over the course of the past couple of weeks. However, there are still a couple of diamonds in the rough that I thought were definitely worth mentioning, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So, kicking things off, we have Styx Shards of Darkness coming to the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the PC. The centuries-old goblin assassin Styx returns in Styx Shards of Darkness, the multi-layered stealth game with a bigger budget, bigger ideas, and a new engine, Unreal 4. Master of Shadows was a valiant exploration into the world of the Green Goblin Thief, but Shards of Darkness will delve deeper into a complex narrative and fully realized world. Following the fall of Akanash Tower, an extraordinary matter has forced Styx out of hiding and into Korangar, city of the Dark Elves. I never played Master of Shadows. Supposedly impregnable, a diplomatic summit offers Styx a chance at slipping in unnoticed. His infiltration complete, Styx will stop at nothing to accomplish the robbery of a lifetime, stealing a scepter of immense and indomitable power. Embark upon a stealthy adventure with new enemies, new environments, and a plethora of new mechanics, refining the abilities of Styx, grappling around corners, climbing ropes, and using his trusty knife to zipline. Shards of Darkness offers unparalleled freedom of movement along with polished stealth and assassination mechanics, expanding and improving on the strengths of Styx Master of Shadows. Couple of things about this one. This is an extremely stealth-heavy game. If you are not into sneaking around and you like going in guns blazing, you should definitely look other places because this is not going to be your kind of game. That being said, the gameplay that I am showing right here pretty much summarizes the experience you are going to be getting, and that is saying it looks pretty dang sweet. One thing that's included in Shards of Darkness that I love to see included in games is that you don't necessarily have to kill everyone in the entire map. That is one thing I feel is left out of a lot of stealth games that do force you to kill your enemy, because normally if you are a stealthy enough person, you can in fact avoid any kind of confrontation whatsoever. Now, all that being said, this is pretty much just building on the foundation that Master of Shadows laid down a couple of years back, and I believe it was an Xbox Live Gold game or a PlayStation Plus game or something along those lines a couple of months back, so a lot of people have had the opportunity to play this game and really get their first feel for it, so you're just getting more of that and kind of amplified now that they have the funding to make a fully realized game. And also, it's worth noting that if this gameplay trailer is in fact running on a PlayStation 4, it looks absolutely breathtaking, but of course that begs the question, is it really running on a PlayStation 4? And considering I found it on the official PlayStation YouTube page, I certainly hope so, because that would be very disappointing for a lot of PlayStation 4 fans. One more thing that is worth mentioning, this game is going to be $50 at launch. That is $10 less than the usual price of $60 or $59.99 if you really want to get technical about it. That being said, it does not look like a budget title whatsoever in my opinion, especially according to this gameplay right here. It looks to be a fully realized $60 game, and that's exactly what I like to see. A nice price tag with a fantastic game attached to it. Moving right along to Death Squared, which is coming to the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the PC. Death Squared is a cooperative puzzle game for 1, 2, or 4 players. Not 3, but 1, 2, or 4. Best enjoyed with loved ones who don't mind a little arguing for the greater good. Prove your teamwork skills in Death Squared as you solve puzzles together or die trying. Each player needs to guide a robot to a color-coded goal, but the path is beset with deadly traps and hazards. Teams of players will need close observation and communication to keep each other alive and discover a solution together. Complete the main campaign in single player or with 2 players, and then take a group into 4-player party mode for the ultimate teamwork trial. For those that can't get enough, head to the vault to find extra experiments recommended only for the brave. So the first thing to take note of with this game is that if you do not have at least one other person to play with, you are not going to be getting the full experience. Now, you do not need to have, 2 to 4 people to play this game. However, it is definitely recommended because you can go through this single player campaign and complete all of that by yourself, but in order to play the party mode, you need to have at least another person, otherwise you're just not going to be getting your money's worth and certainly not going to be fully experiencing Death Squared. That being said, considering the cooperative nature of the game, this is a perfect title for streamers and YouTube groups because, of course, you do have collaborators on Twitch that do tend to play games together, and on top of that, you have these little coalitions of YouTubers that get together and do Let's Plays, especially if they have their own company, and a couple of those have already been uploaded and used in the trailer that I am playing here. That being said, expect a lot of content from Death Squared being shared around on YouTube with the game's release coming up. One thing that is definitely worth mentioning here with the release of Death Squared is that more content is planned to be added to the game over time. for free. And I mention this because I love seeing games that grow over time and thrive rather than just hit and then there's DLC and then there's DLC 2 and 3 and then death. I hate it when that happens, and that is not what is going to happen with Death Squared, especially if I think it's going to take off with the online community like I have a hunch that it might. And last but not least, we have Danganronpa 1-2 Reload coming to the PlayStation 4. Get two of the best murder mystery adventures in one, whether trapped in school in Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc or stranded on island in Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair. There's bound to be thrills, chills, and kills. In Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, enter Hope's Peak Academy, a prestigious high school reserved for the nation's ultimate students. Things get a bit twisted when the academy students find themselves trapped inside with Monokuma, a maniacal bear who has taken them all prisoner to play his game of despair. Continue the adventure with Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair with a brand new cast of ultimates mysteriously trapped on Jabberwock Island. Wow, in their own life or death game, having fun in the sun with this twisted teddy requires more than a bit of wit to survive. Okay, so Danganronpa 1-2 Reload is pretty much a combo pack of two of the most famous, I suppose you could say, Danganronpa games that have come out on various platforms over the course of the past couple of years. The most interesting aspect of this game is the fact that the gameplay is pretty much split up into two separate segments, and I've written some notes here because, again, I haven't played it, so I'm trying to explain it to you guys. There is school life, and then there are class trials. Now, school life is pretty much where the story is. You can pretty much wander around and talk to characters, and you get a good background of what is going on in the story, and that's actually what progresses you forward. Even this school life portion is actually split up further into daily life and deadly life. Now, daily life is the story progress itself, and then deadly life is actually where you solve murders, which is primarily what's going on in the first one. And then beside that, you have a class that's pretty much the bulk of the gameplay itself within the story, which are the class trials. Now, these are pretty much mini games, and the most famous of which is one where you are conversing with someone who is accused of murder, and you have to kind of pick out flaws in their argument so that you can, in fact, prove them guilty. Now, of course, that's not the only minigame that is available within the game. There are also ones where you pretty much have to shoot certain puzzles, and there's a lot of puzzle solving going on within this game, but it's very interesting to see how the entire game is pretty much split up into these two completely stark categories. Now, Danganronpa 1-2 Reload is being released in anticipation of Danganronpa V3, which is coming to North America this coming September. It's coming to Europe later in September, and then I believe Australia sometime in October. It's a weird release that they've got going on with this one, but this reload definitely gives players enough of a really opportune chance to experience two of the biggest titles in the entire franchise and kind of decide if they want to invest in V3 whenever it does come out. And finally, to wrap things up, a couple of honorable mentions. Dead Rising 4 is finally dragging its rotting carcass over to the PC. Then you also have Nier Automata, which came out on the PlayStation 4 last week, coming to the PC as well. And finally, the most exciting honorable mention that I have for you this week is The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus is coming to the Nintendo Switch, where I personally feel it will be right at home. So there you guys have it. I hope you have enjoyed this edition of The Drop. If you did, drop me a like down below and let me know what new games that are coming out this week that you are excited for. And if I missed anything, put it down there as well. And of course, on top of that, if you happen to be new to the channel, I do upload new stuff throughout the week, so there's always something new right here on the channel when you do drop by to watch some videos. But as for right now, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching this particular video. I will talk to you soon. Peace.